Okay, we say for us on like na comment Russia man said be a share. Now, Julius NDC Communications member or also presidential staffer communication machine no more presidency na Cheska to do near their mom put do their mom there mukodi say no. Yeah, Facebook so quite mano. Now you see better now join news AM shows no or the on style of communications be na aba I say ne communication no enye in fact I say kwarase be as a childish talk be asema any kwase a genuine argument kra no one kasa for some ways and means be amana ye like issue big issue as I oh no this communication the enye in fact na we na Kwesi betwi lawyer and a member of the communications team of the MPP schooling the issue was around Muslimi for ne Christopher Imam Bios and so Alaji B Kobo also for assume or police headquarters on some sema over the weekend they didn't hide your maka ho asem nyina wi no eno na lawyer Kwesi was a lawyer for a years of no and on kwate o chese asem no kwa nko say prosecution and say court and something like omon fa nko fie no mo resolving because some of these things sensitive near the other say particular Julius see afa asem no style bi e dey akure ni e me fa mo nyina e ka say like you could tell say the submission so making no mo kra o tito ni na e fed up tin nsem a o kike but still na say ni mu ni twa bi ase nkwara su bi serious I say they want to be seen as some person say oh ye juma masa communication enye dede o a silly argument bia no so le no betra na wo beki o and on Adamus issues no and Kwesi Botchway kire say the particular mining company no company no mining activities no mo ye last minister in a way the constituency it this whole issue no is it that last minister no interest be and besides on any one so the information you have to talk about this as last minister no affiliated to a particular part of traditional people traditional leaders ni bi and for no Adamus for company no so affiliated to other omu opposite traditional leaders na we always side it's in akwesa na all pe kwan bi so afa so age omu list na from someone because of saa nyama kitikiti na said there so atias here I know na Kwesi Botchway raise consensus on social media for years as a conflict of interest be near there and to motion no money and there and Julius by our fan what capable defend it just be behind this if we be defend it hey I'm for you go to conversation we there and Kwesi Botchway so the chairman say masa ya nkora communication no ni tipeno no but to say baako adwuma odusen baako you get man for yanko ni kuti communication yanko ni kuti the course join news AM shows.
Let's talk about this matter. Yeah, I'm certain that you've been following this.
Yes. So I was counseled to the pastor, and so I have first-hand information in all that happened, and I'm also privileged to know the facts surrounding this very situation. But I'll resist the temptation of turning this conversation into a Christian-Muslim tussle. I would say it was a tussle between two individuals. It wasn't a Christian and Muslim issue. In fact, this is a very sensitive matter. And so I will call for restraint in discussing this very matter because, like Julius mentioned, we live in a country where we are surrounded by countries that have been invaded by extremists and terrorists. And if you read and look at the history, there's a pattern on how all these things start. And so we have to be very careful about some of these matters because there are several workers of iniquity sitting on the fence of this nation waiting to inflame some of these things. And like Julius is aware, some of these things should not just be seen as a light matter. It is not something that should be treated with kid gloves. It is a very serious and it is a very sensitive matter. But then before I proceed, I would want to make a suggestion to Julius. He speaks for the ministry. And you know, as secretary to the Defense and Interior Committee of the MPP, I will make a suggestion to him that when matters of this nature happen, he should be slow on his media engagement. Because if you look at the tensions that was even at the police station on the day of the event, while I was watching him on, I watched him on Joy News in the morning, and later I was watching him on one of the stations in the police station. And if you look at the tension that was there, I think that maybe next time, this is just a friendly suggestion to him, he should hasten slowly when some of these highly sensitive security matters come up, because I am aware that so many things were done behind the scenes that wasn't put in the public domain. And if you care to know, on the day of the incident, that very morning, I was on show with council. After the show, I had to go for a meeting. I was in a meeting when a top clergy within the Christian Council called me that this is what had transpired and wants me to represent the pastor. Initially, I was a bit hesitant that, hey, what has happened? Because I had not seen the video. But when I go to the police station, I saw several pastors there. I saw several imams there. And so I realized that this is a matter that demands tact and not law. And so I quickly engaged the police commander, who was extremely professional. And let me single him out for a mention. I don't know his rank, but Seth Sewono. I think he is the commander for the in charge for the Special Investigations Unit. He's a great, fantastic police officer. Because if you look at how he managed the situation and, considering the public uproar that came with everything, I think that he managed the situation quite well. And so let's be very mindful and careful in the media when we comment about some of these things. Again, I also do not think that this matter, I know Julius's boss, the minister, is calling for an investigation and, for this matter to be brought to its logical conclusion and all that. But I would rather prefer that this matter is dealt with backdoor. Let's not push for prosecutions. Let's not push for, people to be dealt with. I agree that when people offend the law, when people fall short of the law must take its course. I am totally aligned on this. But I think that considering the sensitive nature of this matter, and number two, considering the fact that the IGP found it necessary to convene a meeting between the Islamic Council, the Christian Council, and the Peace Council to settle this matter and to bring, some calmness to this matter, I think that the wisdom of the IGP and in calling that meeting should at least reduce the tensions in this country. But initiating prosecutions might regenerate more tensions, because sincerely, my client, the pastor, has a lot to say. I have advised him not to go into the issues in the media, not to be visiting one station to the another, because media people would want to speak to him and all that. Even regarding the picture that was put out and all that, I think that, again, let's hasten slowly. Because on the matter of the picture, and sincerely, the public and the media has no obligation to swallow whatever the police or any other law enforcement agency tells them hook, line, and sinker. It is the duty of the media to interrogate some of these issues. And so if people have reasonable suspicions about a certain matter, I think that workers of the Ministry of Interior and officials of the Ministry of Interior should rather take these things as feedback and not to be seen to be pushing their narrative, on the media or pushing their narrative out there. Because for people to actually have the apprehension that this is not the person in question, you should rather call for an investigation. That if this is not the person, then the police should, investigate the matter and, but you shouldn't be seen to be having confrontations with media practitioners who have reasonable suspicion to believe that something is not the case, because this is a highly sensitive matter. And so, MFA, I would not say much on this matter.
That's not much.
I would not go into the details of this matter, MFA, because, you see, religious leaders have a role to play. We live in a country where day in, day out, if Julius will be very sincere to the public, I don't want to say that our peace is being threatened, But we live in a country where, if you consider what is happening in the sub-Saharan region, you would know that we have to be careful about some of these things. And some of these things should not be treated as though it is just a fight between Christians and Muslims. There is no fight between Christians and Muslims. There is no fight.
Absolutely.
At the police station, I met with several imams. In fact, they offered me drink and water, except that day I was fasting, and so I didn't take it. But we live in a very harmonious society. We are one people. I engaged Imam Angola. We had very, friendly conversation. He was at the police station. He was under detention. The pastor was also there. So I think that let's commend the police. Let's commend the police for handling this matter with tact, and let's also condemn them for allowing whatever happened in the video to happen. But MFA, our land here.
Okay, that's for Mr. Money. Mr. Money, the suggestion, advice from our good friend to Julius it has to jump you to come to him. Should he take it? If you say yes or no, then we'll proceed to the other topic. That's all him jotting. He swallowed it there.
Humility. You just suggestions come, you take them, you filter them.
Okay.
You see what's best for the country.
Okay. All right. Let's go to other matters then.
Oh, I have to address.
What?
Please.
Let me hear you. Let me hear you. What do you want to say?
You see, I think that we should all get a clear understanding of the issue about public confidence in our institutions, and when certain things are done, the effects they have on public confidence, and the responsibilities that are on each of us, and the question whether or not we've all discharged those responsibilities very well. That is why I started on the outset. Kwesi suggested that I'm saying that the public should swallow hook, line, and sinker anything the police. Oh, please, Kwesi. Not every conversation between us must be tense.
Especially when I'm the one moderating.
There's no such suggestion that the public should swallow hook, line, and sinker what the police put out there. I am one of the people who scrutinizes institutions more than anyone in this country. So I don't expect that institutions should not be scrutinized. The question is how and whether they are proper. And I am very happy to note that he said that when he was at the police headquarters, he saw Alhaji Angola at the police headquarters and he was under arrest. I think that Kwesi's corroboration should put this matter to rest as to who was arrested. Lawyer Kwesi Botchway was counsel for the pastor, right? And Lawyer Kwesi Botchway has made this point clear that there is no such thing as conflict between Muslims and Christians. I agree, 100%. It is individuals who were doing their own thing. But there was a case of misinformation saying that the person who was involved, that individual who was arrested, is not the actual person. When such an issue is put out there, and you speak for a ministry like the Interior, it is important that when that issue is put before you, you clarify. You don't allow that sort of thing to fester.
I think the viewers are in a good position to
whatsoever.
I think
on the media, please.
I think that's.
Can I just wrap it up?
One of the things that I like with my viewers is that you don't.
They are discerning.
They're very discerning.
So let me just wrap it up. Let me just wrap it up in 45 seconds. Just let me just. So it is not about that. It is about the responsibility. Oliver should not have gone to the market with a suggestion that the person will not be arrested.
That point has been made.
Then the media should not have gone with an AI picture.
That's
showing people that the person
made.
has not been arrested. And so please, I'm glad that Kwesi has confirmed to all of us on this platform that he was at the police headquarters and Angola was under arrest and he spoke with him. Oh, you said Kwesi, Kwesi, you clearly said that you met Alhaji Angola and then you had a conversation with him and he was under arrest. That point is made.
What's the issue?
Then
because
on the
you're
last
responding
thing,
to something he says.
Let me just conclude so he has it.
No, because you're responding to something he says. He says that you don't need that reminder. You don't need that reminder. What I'm saying is, Julius, will not come back. Julius, not just okay. You let me wrap it up. Julius, because you are responding to him, and he's here saying that that's not what he said. You can't wrap it up. Okay, do you understand? You can't wrap it up when he says this one.
There are two things here. I said that I saw Alhaji Angola in the police station, and I even interacted with him. The concern about the Ghanaian people that I have seen on social media, on the day the police made the post, I didn't say it because I was in the police station dealing with the issues. the concern is that the photo the police posted is not Alhaji Angola. As to whether or not the photo the police
but
posted...
when you went to the police station, it was
I want to get where he's going with
as to whether or not the photo the police posted is Alhaji Angola or not, I cannot say. Because I didn't see the face of the person.
But that's where I have a challenge with. What I mean is that once the ministry says that it is not, they can't keep quiet, can they?
No, they cannot.
Social media is concerned. The clarity is needed.
The ministry shouldn't respond to issues. I'm only saying that when some of these issues come up, the ministry should handle it with tact.
Example.
For instance,
what has been
pushing the narrative that it is him. Mm-hmm. The public is expressing some distrust
but why
for law enforcement
when it is actually him.
I was thinking that the ministry would rather call, because don't forget, the ministry has a supervisory insight on the Ghana Police Service. I was thinking that the ministry, being the higher agency, would call for an investigation even into the matter.
When it's apparent that it is
then the ministry is taking up the matter to investigate,
that is not
establish as to whether or not the photo the police service posted.
When you went to the police headquarters, you said you met Alhaji Angola, he was under arrest.
Okay.
It is the person, so if it is not the person, why was it a different person?
That's the conclusion that was no question.
If he was not the person, why is he not a different person?
I will not belabor this matter.
Both of you. So if I understand,
if it's a different person, why did you miss the actual person at the police headquarters?
So if I understand, when the public started showing the distrust, the IGP should probe investigation. I don't know, Julius, I want to understand where it's coming from. I didn't
hear what you said.
So since we said the pictures, since you're saying that once that picture came and there's some sort of misunderstanding in the public, the ministry should have called for an investigation as to whether or not it is done.
I think.
That's what you think. That's what he thinks.
That's
what he thinks. He's not saying that's how it should be. That's what he thinks. You have also responded
I don't have the power to say that's how it should be.
And we're ending this matter. You have also said that the thing was so apparent. There's no need for that.
Apparent. I mean, imagine you are Inspector General of Police.
He doesn't have to imagine.
No, let him imagine.
I don't want to.
He doesn't want to imagine.
You would hear me anyway.
Imagine I'm going to start with you on Adamus.
Imagine you are Inspector General of Police. And then you are directed by your boss to investigate what is an apparent misinformation that even children can see. And indeed, you see, the reason why I am emphasizing this point is that Kwesi wants to join in this disinformation campaign. When in actual fact, you cannot say this. Let me just. Please, you cannot. You want to join in this disinformation campaign. You cannot say this. You cannot. But one point is clear: when you went to the police headquarters, you have told us that you saw Alhaji Angola. If a different person was arrested, how did you see Alhaji Angola? That is the question. We should not do this. We should not always bastardize institutions. But have I said a different person was arrested? The Ghana Police Service. Have I said you are saying that the apparent disinformation should be investigated when you actually saw the actual person who was arrested. Who has said that? Who is saying this? No, okay. I disputed what the police. Not every conversation. I'm saying that the conversations of the public were.
All right. Kwesi, I'm going to ask you on Adam. So I think because this matter is under investigation, right? It will still come up for us to discuss. We're ending and going to other matters.
The matter of whether or not it was Alhaji Angola who was arrested.
It's been clear. We're saying that. Listen, if you're interested, you can go to court if the matter is in court. Is this matter going to go to court?
Botchway has
will this matter go to court? Julius, will this matter go to court?
Which matter?
This investigation, any part of it, whoever is being investigated.
That brings my attention to the fact that he has suggested that there must not necessarily be prosecutions. I mean, he is a lawyer. He understands that there can be bonding of people, which I said earlier. That the people have been bonded. It's part of the criminal procedure.
Yes,
you don't necessarily have...
No, you pass the question to me.
Do you take briefing from your boss before you speak on issues?
About what do you mean? What do you mean?
You know what? We'll end this topic here. Let's go to Adamus. Kwesi, do you know that I've been inviting you to other matters?
What do you mean?
I'm surprised I was so...
You see, you are just interested
I've invited you to other matters.
I'm not
attacking you. You are interested in personal attacks.
Kwesi, I've called you 3 times. Talk about Adamus. Mr. Money, please mute their microphone. Please mute their microphone. Is it muted? Is it muted?
And
it's muted. Okay.
The person is not the person.
Mr. Money, let's talk about Adamus.
You are saying we should investigate whether it's the
person. Have I said so?
Because someone
you are rather saying the things you
but you went to the police headquarters yourself and you saw the person. How can you see the person and still say that we should investigate whether it was the person or not?
Mr. Money, their microphones are muted. Let's talk about Adamus and matters arising. So, okay, Kwesi, are you ready to talk about Adamus now?
If you want me to, or if you want.
No, because you're the first person I was inviting to talk about Adamus. So I went for me, po.
Oh, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Don't worry, don't mind Julius. Julius is very mischievous, don't mind. But I'm a fan. On Adamus, I am aligned to everything that the Venerable Alfred Money has mentioned. And I think that all that is happening is politics. And you see, Angela List is the owner. She has become just a victim of the politics that is going on. And I am also inclined to believe that indeed she may be a victim of a target or a victim of all the political shenanigans that is happening. Because I have paid close attention to the issues. I have read about the issues. In fact, I have read the report of the Minerals Commission. It's about a 106-page report. I have read everything. I have also read the response of Adamus Resources. And I don't think that the revocation is grounded in law. So the ministry, revokes the license primarily on the allegation of alleged illegal mining, alleged financial regulatory breaches, and corporate community responsibility. But you see, like the former GGA president mentioned, you cannot convert the existence of illegal mining on a company's concession into proof that the company owning the concession has engaged in illegal mining, particularly where there is evidence that the company has repeatedly reported the instances of illegal mining on their concession to the police and law enforcement authorities. When there is evidence to that effect, that the company had reported that some persons have encroached their land, and you convert that to mean that the company owning the concession is involved in illegal mining, I don't think that that is enough gravitas to warrant the revocation of the lease of an individual. Secondly, MFA, I think that the revocation is not legal. In my opinion, I think the revocation is not legal because if you look at the issues, Section 68 of Act 703 deals and prescribes the procedure for the suspension or cancellation of a valid mineral right. Now, let's not forget that the mineral right or the lease held by Adamus Resources was granted and ratified by Parliament. And therefore, because it's a statutorily granted lease, if you want to revoke it, you cannot just wake up and revoke it with an administrative fiat, or as a minister, you issue a ministerial fiat to say that I have revoked your lease. It has to go through a process, and the law has laid down that process. If you primarily look at Section 68(2) of Act 703, the law requires that, and I'll read, that you notify the holder of the alleged breach, give the holder at least 120 days in the case of a mining lease to remedy the breach. And what we are discussing is a mining lease. 3, where the breach cannot be remedied, give the holder an opportunity to show cause. And D, only thereafter proceed to suspend or cancel the lease. Now let's ask ourselves, was Adamus given the required 120 days? Because from what we have read in the media, on 21st April 2026, the Ministry of the Minerals Commission recommended the revocation. On 23rd April, 2 days after, the minister accepted the recommendation. The following day, Adamus was informed that their lease had been revoked. And so I don't think...
Because just before you continue, the 120 days,
yes,
would it be between the owner of the concession and the Minerals Commission or the Ministry of Lands and Resources? Because as I've come to understand it, the Lands Ministry would just they only uphold the decision by the Minerals Commission.
Yes, but the question we need to ask is that the holders of the mineral rights, were they given
that
the opportunity, the 120 days as required by law, or the opportunity to rectify the breach, if indeed there was any breach? No. From what we have read, they were not given any opportunity to rectify their lease. But you see, MFA, what makes this matter more sensitive and more serious is the fact that these concessions are located in the constituency of the lands minister. Yes, in Crawford. So the leases are located in the constituency of the lands minister. It even raises the question of conflict of interest. That is it the case that the minister has some interest in those concessions, and that is why the minister doesn't want those concessions to be handled by Adamus Resources
but
or its owner. But it's the minister
that did the investigation.
Who upheld the investigation?
Yeah, he only upheld the decision of the Minerals Commission.
Who issued the administrative? Who issued the administrative fiat? You understand? So it was the minister's decision. In fact, it was the minister that called for the investigation. And so I think that when matters of this nature pop up, in recent times, our mining industry has not been, in the best form and shape. And so I think that this matter has to be handled properly. You cannot say because you don't like somebody or because you think somebody is causing problems for you in your constituency, and so you want to also show the person where power lies, and that you through some opaque and some indecent haste and in an ambulance mode, you take steps to revoke the lease of a person. I think that these things raises some reasonable suspicion. So, and today you have people.
How many pages the Minerals Commission? The Minerals Commission report.
106.
Did it cite this concerns you are raising?
No, it didn't.
That is conflict of interest.
No, it didn't. So why would they cite that when they are drafting the report to the minister? Isn't it the minister who is supposed to make the final decision? Yeah, and the minister in this case is involved in the conflict of interest matter. The point I'm making is that the concessions or the leases that have been revoked is located in the constituency of the minister.
That's your observation.
Oh no, that is a fact.
That's a fact.
Yes,
I agree.
That's a fact.
But I mean, when they made him minister, they knew that he's a fact.
And the point I'm making here is that because the concessions are located in the minister's constituency, and it's the same minister who is vested with the authority to revoke these concessions. And considering the fact that there are suspicions, I have heard the chief of Salman speak on radio, say that the minister, in fact, I don't want to go into the issues of what he said, but he was trying to make the analysis that there are some chieftaincy undertones regarding this matter. And it seems from what he was saying that the minister is aligned to certain chiefs, and the owners of Adamus Resources are also aligned to certain chiefs. And so it looks like there's some power play and some ego,
This goes to confirm what Mr. Money.
Yes. And this is the fact, because the chief is out there speaking. The chief is out there speaking. I don't live in Salman. I've not been there before. This is the chief of the community speaking. That he thinks that there is some chieftaincy undertones and there is some personal issue between the owners of Adamus Resources and the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. And so in this circumstance, I think all what we can do is to call on the president and stakeholders like the DJ,
it shouldn't end there. There should be further conversations.
I think that stakeholders should go into the matter to actually come to the logical conclusion if indeed the owners of Adamus Resources have breached any provisions of law and they have been granted the 120 days period as required by law, and they have not been able to rectify their issues, so be it.
When they go to court, don't they have a right to go to court?
They have the right to go to court, but you see, coming from a very a corporate perspective, you do not want to always litigate with the government. And so in circumstances like this, you may want to embrace dialogue. Alfred Money informs us that they are open to dialogue. I think that the government should also leverage on dialogue to ensure that a logical conclusion is drawn. MFA, as I land, with your indulgence, just 1 minute. You see, I have also read on social media, it looks as if because Chemawun to me was convicted along the same lines. If you look at the allegations against Adamus Resources that some people were engaged in illegal mining on their concession, and you take the case of Chemawun to me, there are some similarities. I do not think, I have seen these concerns on social media, I do not think, and I hope that it is not the intention of government to try to equalize, to say that, okay, if Chemawun to me has been convicted for this, then let's also find a way to also convict somebody just to, make up for. There are some conspiracy theories. It may be true, it may not be true, but I'm saying that this.
Okay, let's discuss the facts before we go to conspiracy theories. How about that?
Oh no, there are so many conspiracy theories.
Let me go to other panelists to discuss the report. So we're going to
Julius metamorphosed from Ministry of Interior to Ministry of Lands.
Come again?
Yeah. Julius,
why do you ask?
Because I'm sure you'll be defending the Ministry of Lands.
Why do you speak? I know that. No, let me go to. Okay, Julius, you'd be the one ending this topic for us. So, yeah.
Minister's constituency.
Let me hear from you.
Influence his judgment.
You see, because that is still going, let me start with that. What is conflict of interest? Conflict of interest is a question of fact. And so if I allege conflict of interest, I must be willing to disclose the fact which ground the conflict of interest. The critical question becomes whether a concession being in somebody's constituency grounds a claim of conflict of interest. I think we all know the conclusion to that already. So the conflict of interest claims, please, let's dismiss them. The minister is not conflicted on the matter as far as the facts that you are alleging are concerned, if the fact is only that a concession is in his constituency. Unless you're able to disclose further facts, which will show that he stands in a position to make some private gain from the decision he's making, then the conflict of interest is not grounded. You can't just be on television and tell people that, oh, something is in somebody's constituency, conflict of interest. If that becomes the case, do you know the number of conflict of interest cases we'll be dealing with on our hands on a daily basis?
I think you have dismissed it, so let's
dismiss that. Then the second issue of it is not possible, I say it with all respect to the senior citizen, that someone will engage in illegal mining on a concession they have been lawfully given. I don't think it's correct. Because the law has regulations that guide how a lawfully acquired concession is supposed to be run, including certain prohibitions. One of those prohibitions is whether you can allow other people or assign that concession to other people.
But Kwesi tells you that the report said there was encroachment, that they had made those concerns.
The report did not say there was encroachment. The report says that they have assigned.
No, Adamus pushed back.
The response, yes.
The response by Adamus.
That they've actually reported to the police.
You know what? You spoke for close to 15 minutes.
I have not interdicted you.
I allowed you to speak.
Make your point.
Unless it is a complete lie, which I'll verify later. Let's make progress.
Adamus's response is that they did not assign. But the findings of the Minerals Commission is that there has been an assignment to foreigners. And you know the facts that makes the commission to believe that Adamus has a relationship with the people Kwesi wants us to believe are encroachers. Those people were arrested. And it was this company that went to bail them because they work for them. No. Unless you are saying that they are just being charitable and standing surety and bailing people, which is possible. But how probable is it that someone will be bailing encroachers on their property? It's possible. It's possible. But in the realm of reasoning, we want to deal with what is more probable. Is it very probable that I would go and be bailing people who are essentially encroachers on my property? I leave that to the audience to decide.
Wouldn't it be a nice place to end? As you are leaving it to...
You'll be most unfair.
No, I will not be most unfair.
You'll be most unfair.
I've always said that the time on issues are not equal. They are very equitable. Today you've had a lot of time.
At least if it's not...
You've had a lot of time. I've been very fair.
At least if it's not equal, it should be quite substantial for me to put it.
It's equitable.
Yes,
because you have had a lot of time. But just 30 seconds.
Let me just wrap up. So how possible is it? I mean, in the realm of possibilities, anything can happen. But how very probable is it that I will go bailing out people who are encroachers on my property? Would I do that? How probable is the audience should look at that? And the question of, I think I've addressed that already. Let me go to the next issue of the activities and the notice periods. I want Adamus to go to court. The reason I want Adamus to go to court is because I always say that on matters of the law, those of us who aspire to have anything to do with the law, our fidelity should first be to the law. The question of 120 days notice. There are questions there that I want the court to clarify for me. One, if the issue can be remedied, the law, as Kwesi Botchway rightly stated, says that 120 days. You give at least 120 days and give them opportunity to remedy. Or if it is not something that can be remedied, then you give them an opportunity to show cause why it should not be revoked. It is my view that the petition that they have sent and the review process and the opportunity for them to actually make their case is an opportunity to show cause. The next question is, after showing cause, is the 120 days still required? Okay. I want the court to answer that question. Because there's a claim that they have not been given notice, and for that matter, it is the view of the ministry that these infractions are criminalities.
We look forward to Adamus going to court.
So in that situation where they cannot be remedied, I would want the court to answer whether upon them giving their response.
So, reviews.